Good morning. This is video number 1 of what I hope will be many that I will have on YouTube. I am going to start doing a video diary while I'm on my way to work every day, because I work 6 days a week, so there's an opportunity for me to possibly do 6 of these a week. Don't know if I'll do that many, but in the beginning I may do more, and then, as I progress, I may cut back a little bit. So this is day 1 of legit OMAD fasting lifestyle for my husband and I. I got a couple of fasting apps, so I'm going to compare the two of them just because I want to be able to chart what my fasts are, and I'm going to go for OMAD, which is 1 meal a day. Ours is going to be dinner because we both work during the day, and I figure it's just really easiest for us to put our heads down and just get work done and not think about, food or having to pack a lunch. Or I'm an acupuncturist and I have 2 offices. One of them is about 30 miles away from my house. The other one is only about 4, but I don't want to worry about packing lunches and meal prep, and because we're just not good at it. We keep telling ourselves that we need to do it, and we're just absolutely horrible at it, my husband and I. So I've been doing tons of diet research over the years. I've done pretty much every diet you could possibly think of. This is my starting weight, and I weighed in at 206 this morning. And I've been in my life as low as about 170, 180, somewhere in there. I think there was a discrepancy with my scale at the time. I weighed 170, but there may have been up to a 10-pound swing. But that put me at about a size 8, comfortably, very comfortably, like walk in any Old Navy and just grab a size 8. I've also been, pushing my way out of 16s and 18s. Right now I'm about a 12, 14, depending, more towards the 14 side than the 12. But this is my starting weight. So it is what it is, and we're going to go from here. My husband, who is following along with this with reservations, that he doesn't think he can do it. I don't think, but I think he can. It's the whole, if you've done research on fasting and intermittent fasting, about, your tummy growling is not necessarily a sign of hunger. It's more programming. That we've been programmed. We have to have breakfast between 9 and 11. We have to have lunch between 12 and 2. We have to have dinner between 4 and 6. And, around those times, or when we get close to food at those times, your tummy will start barking at you. So I think my husband experiences a lot of that because we've done so many diets, as I mentioned a while ago, that we've done calories in, calories out, low carb, high fat, low carb. Back in the day, I can go back to a cabbage soup diet, for crying out loud. So I think that my metabolism is really just kind of shot at this point, from going down to 170, being almost 250, and then just fluctuating back and forth. And now I'm also 47 years old. So I do think age plays a little bit of a role. Sorry about the bounciness. A little bit of a role in, the weight coming off in the way that it does sometimes. I don't know. I don't know if there's any science behind that, but anyway, a month ago, maybe a little bit more, I really started researching intermittent fasting, and then, which eventually led me to OMAD. Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. And well, actually, I have to say, I've heard about fasting well over a year or 2 ago. A podcast I was listening to for acupuncture had someone on for fasting. I'll have to go back and see who that was, and if I can, or if I have time, I'll put it in the notes for the video. But they talked about fasting a little bit, and bulletproof coffee and all of that stuff. And I listened, and I've done the bulletproof coffee. um, when trying to do some intermittent fasting with larger windows, especially when I first started, to at least give me, to make those hunger pangs kind of chill out in the very beginning. But anyway, I read the obesity code, or I listened to it because I'm an audio book kind of girl. And then there was a fasting book that went along with that, that Dr. Fung was a part of. So I listened to both of those, and then Delay, Don't Deny. That was more recently. As a matter of fact, I don't think I'm quite finished with it, but I probably have less than 30 minutes to an hour to go on that one, so I'm pretty much done. And then I'm also going to get her new book. As soon as there's an Audible version, it's not that I don't like reading. It's ever since grad school, whenever I try to read, I fight falling asleep. So it's easier for me on long drive times to plug into my car and, bring my Audible up and just listen to that for the 30 to 40 minutes that I'm in my car. So I've done some research. I've looked into it. I've watched a bunch of YouTube videos. There's a few, the Dad Bod Project that I've watched some of his videos. Let's see what else. Oh, there's the guy, I can't remember his name, like Blake, 201_201, the guy that eats his 4,000 calories in one meal, and he puts on these big production videos of that. And so I've watched a couple of his, and 6 Miles to Supper. She's one of the very first YouTube channels that I was really checking out and listening to. So I'm kind of going to do a combination of 6 Miles to Supper and Delay, Don't Deny. So 6 Miles to Supper, she said one of the restrictions that she didn't want to put on herself is restrictions. So she doesn't have anything during her fasting window. I'm not certain. I think she does a clean fast, but there may be some cream in her coffee. I'm not positive. Maybe not. Maybe I just heard that in a more recent video that she was going to add some, I don't know. Anyway, but at dinner, she denies herself nothing. She doesn't really do, low carb, high fat, high protein, or whatever she wants to eat, she eats. And then there is the Delay, Don't Deny, where they talk about a really clean fast. So my struggle in the beginning is not necessarily going to be my eating window, because, like I said, over the last month, I've been dabbling with intermittent fasting, and Mondays and Tuesdays are long days for me at work. So I have a tendency to just say, hey, I wonder if I can go all day without eating and then just have dinner when I get home at night. And I've done that successfully, not more than 2 or 3 days in a row this far. And what I mean by that is I may have done OMAD on Monday, OMAD on Tuesday, but I broke my fast a little bit earlier, instead of like 7 or 8 o'clock at night when I get home, or sometimes even 9 on Mondays. I may have broken it at like 3 or 4, but still, and then had a little something and then had my dinner. So it was more like a 16-8 or a 6-hour window, either an 8 or a 6-hour window, and then went back to OMAD the next day. Or basically that's what I was doing. And without really struggling, and having artificial sweetener both in soda and in my coffee in the morning, stevia or Splenda, depending, I still have lost in between 6 to 8 pounds up and down. And when I say up and down, my husband and I have also had things happen like every single weekend where, we went over someone's house, or we did something. I can't say we went over someone's house. He plays in a band, so he may have had a gig and we had dinner that night, or we went somewhere and decided to treat ourselves You know, we just came back from a 3-day trip. I'm on the East Coast. I'm in Connecticut. I don't know if you can really see the foliage that's starting to happen on my quick little drive-by, but so we went from Connecticut and flew to LA, and we're there from like a Wednesday to a Friday. So we really didn't, I wasn't really fasting because we had meals. It was just easier for us, or easier for me when I'm traveling, to just do whatever I wanted and not have to worry about it. But going forward, I'm really going to stick to OMAD unless it's a special occasion and I decide it's a feast day. But I can talk about that more later on as it happens. Right now, it's going to be purely OMAD. So this morning I got up and I made my coffee that I have here with me. This is my coffee. I did put cream in it. I did not put any sugar or artificial sweetener whatsoever. So that is huge for me. I haven't even tasted it yet. So I'm kind of scared because I'm a light and sweet kind of girl, and I would use Splenda or stevia to taste. So yeah. But with all of the reading that I've been doing, I'm going to try for as much of a clean fast as I can. I'm going to put cream in my coffee today. There's 2 tablespoons. I'm going to drink that until I get used to it. Once I get used to that, because there's no sugar in here, and I'm going to take a sip in a minute and tell you what I think. Once I get used to my 2 measured tablespoons of heavy cream, then I'm going to cut it down to 1. I'm going to try to work myself to black coffee. I'm not a big tea drinker. The only time I really drink tea is when I'm sick, like really don't feel good sick. And again, it's English style with cream and sugar. I can do like iced tea and tea with only a little bit of Splenda, actually. So I really am just going to try to cut out all artificial sweeteners. No stevia, no packets, yellow, any of that, while I'm fasting right now. I am going to allow myself tonight when I have dinner, if I want to have a diet soda, I'm going to allow myself a glass of that, because I know, you know, the study that they talk about in Delay Don't Deny, I believe, sorry if I'm not remembering this correctly, but the study they talk about, or no, maybe it was a podcast I was listening to. I'm so sorry. It's a podcast I was listening to. The name of the podcast is, I believe it's the Intermittent Podcast. It's 2 women, but it's the girl who wrote Delay Don't Deny. So anyway, they talk about the study with the mice, and just the flavor of sweetness on the tongue can raise insulin. So I'm not going to do it during my fast, and I say when I break my fast I'm going to, because if I have a diet soda while I'm eating, which does cause my insulin to go up a little bit, I'm going to be eating, which is going to raise my insulin slightly anyway. Eventually, in a perfect world, eventually I will be completely clean and free of artificial sweeteners eventually. But baby steps. So I'm not going to be too hard on myself, but I am going to give it a shot. So let's see. I already talked about my starting weight, my drive time. I'm going to try to do this in the morning. So it's basically going to be like a video diary. I'm looking for community. I'm looking for support. So I've joined a bunch of the Facebook groups, and I do have a podcast, listen to the podcast. And, you know, because intermittent fasting is not as huge as all of the other diets, whether it's paleo or low carb, keto, all of that stuff, I think it's still a relatively small community. And I say that because whenever you go to Google, everything kind of circles around. It circles around to Delay Don't Deny, 6 miles to supper, and, you know, the Dad Bod Project and the Blake guy. So everything kind of circles back around, which tells me that it's a small community. It's still very small. You know, all of these people have quite a few followers, but in the grand scheme of things, when you look at other diets and things like that, it's relatively small. So I am looking for community. Please bear in mind, these videos are not going to be produced. This is the real world. I'm just going to record while I'm on my way to work. Like right now, the stand I have for my phone sucks. It's bouncing all over the place. So I know I'm going to try to get better tools at least so that the quality of the video will be a little bit. I'm just going to use my phone. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to get crazier than that. You know, I'm trying to hold the stand so it stops bobbing and weaving quite so much. But yeah, I'm not going to get crazy. The focus is going to be on me documenting how I'm doing, how I'm feeling, what's going on, because, you know, another voice in the mix doesn't hurt, and, you know, what may work for one person doesn't work for another, and I'm looking to find what works for me. So if I can just commiserate or whatever, you know, if I'm struggling with my fast during the day, and maybe I won't, but who knows? I'm just, you know, putting it out there, and we'll see what happens. So this is going to be hopefully at least a few times a week as I'm driving, just crib notes on how it's going, how I'm feeling, how my husband's doing. I think he's starting it closer to not 250. I want to say 230 something. No, 240 something. I'll ask him. I'm going to have him do a weigh-in, so I'll find out. Because we are a couple and we're doing it together, he probably won't ever be, you know, on with me. But sorry about that. I'm driving, can't control the light. But I will kind of update you as to what he's doing. I wrote a couple of notes. So my OMAD, I kind of talked about that I'm going to be doing as clean of a fast as I can get to, as fast as I can get to it. That was funny. What else? Diets and fasting. I wrote something else down, but I can't even read my own handwriting. I made a note before I started this video. So anyway, I know I'm kind of rambling. This is my exit, getting off the highway. Almost headed to work. So if you made it this far, thank you so much. Like I said, this is just day one, and maybe this is more for me than anybody else, and I'm okay with that too. So I just want to actually document something and try to follow through and be a good girl, you know. Once I get turned, I'm going to take my first sip of coffee because I may want something to complain about a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I am a artificial sweetener kind of girl, and this is going to be a stretch for me. I'm hoping the whole whopping 2 tablespoons in this whole big mug is going to do something. So ready? Okay. This is not sweet at all. I think the 2 tablespoons of creamer are a nice little buffer. I picked a milder roast for my first time, but it still tastes strong to me. But it's really not until the aftertaste. When it's in my mouth and I'm swallowing, I do get the creaminess of the cream. So, you know what? It's not optimal, but it's doable. And I'm going to have to do that. And just like when I went from full sugar soda to artificial sweetener, I know there was a week or two of this tastes like fake sugar. So this tastes like there's no sugar. So, but I'm going to go with it. So anyway, this is day one. 206 is my starting weight. I am 5'7"-ish, 5'7", 5'7.5", depending on who measures me. So, and I'm, dropping my camera. Oh God, this is awesome. I can't make it up, guys. Hashtag real life. So anyway, 206. I'm about 5'7", 5'7 and a half. I'm 47 years old. Wife, stepmom, business owner, pet owner, all of that good stuff. And what else? It's day 1 of OMAD. Want to see how it goes. And that's about it. So I can't, now I'm holding the camera in my hand, literally. So I have to go because in Connecticut, if a police officer sees me holding my phone, that's a $150 fine. And sorry, but I'm not paying $150 for anybody. I will do another video. Hopefully it'll be a little better than this. Maybe I'll have to do it in still drive time, like before I hit the road, until I get better equipment. So anyway, thanks for listening if you made it this far. I appreciate it. Hopefully you have a good sense of humor. Don't be too hard on me, guys. Like I said, this is more for me, just so I can document and see what I'm doing. So have a great Monday and be nice to people. Have a good one. Bye.